Thanks for the patience. I know it's end of day, long, long day, almost time for a happy hour. So thank you. I wanted to congratulate again the entrepreneurs. I'm a journalist and film director, and I've been working on this documentary about women tech entrepreneurs for 3.5 years. It's called She Started It, and basically my last 3-4 years have been dedicated to showcasing women who do exactly what they just did. And it's really hard to go on stage, pitch in front of everybody. So let's give them a round of applause again. Yeah. So yeah, briefly, why I'm here. My documentary, She Started It, which was done in partnership with another journalist in CSIAID, documents 5 young women on their road to startup success. So for 3.5 years, like I said, we followed them through all the ups and downs of the startup journey. And the goal is really to inspire and empower others to do the same. So I'm just going to show you a quick clip, a trailer really. Here you go.
Around age 4, little boys and girls start kind of correlating careers with genders.
You're seeing people that are successful that are mainly white men. That's sending a signal that says, I don't really belong.
I think that if there was a really influential female role model in computer sciences, I would be more interested.
There could definitely be a lot more role models out there. We just haven't heard about them.
Congratulations on being an 18-year-old with a startup.
We want to collaborate globally. No one has done it before, including Google.
If you're not hell-bent on fixing a problem for irrational reasons, you're probably going to give up.
Un peu fatigant parce qu'on enchaîne les rendez-vous heure après heure.
Some friends text me about, oh my gosh, I'm having this boy issue, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm having this investor issue.
My name is Brienne Gafouri-Farr. I became the youngest college graduate to raise $1 million in funding.
Je suis Agathe Molinard, donc CEO de lemoncurve.com.
I talk to my friends and I'm like, I have a friend who's an entrepreneur, and they think it's cool.
People came to Silicon Valley to pursue a $1 million dream. We already make $1 million.
What does it mean to change the world?
I want to do something for a living.
Yeah, I have a life. I have careers.
I think for young girls in particular, the opportunity is phenomenal. Being an entrepreneur is one of the most exciting things in the world. The opportunity to take your vision and make it a reality.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. So my story is, I'm French, by the way. I don't know if you can hear some accent. Born and raised in Paris, but I've been in Silicon Valley for 5 years. At first, I was working in PR for a tech company, which was a French version of LinkedIn, and then ended up working more on the journalism side. And as I was working in the journalism industry and covering the tech industry here in Silicon Valley, noticing the lack of women in this field. I met my co-founder in CSIAID at Women 2.0. We were at the 2013 conference. Some of you were there, maybe. Anyone were at the 2013 Women 2.0 conference? Okay, we have one here. And so it was kind of a big turning point for us because it was the first time we saw women entrepreneurs on stage being celebrated, and we were like, oh wow, there's a lot of them who are never talked about in the media or whatever. You only hear about, the Mark Zuckerbergs and the Bill Gates of the world. But, I had never heard of Rashmi Sinha, who sold her company to LinkedIn, or Paula Long, all those awesome women. So we were like, okay, let's make a movie about women entrepreneurs. And at first it sounded like an awesome idea, which ended up becoming really, really hard work. So we started with interviewing a lot of women. I think we interviewed about 70 awesome founders all over. And we ended up following really particularly 5 of them for 2 years and then edited for another year. So out of you saw in the trailer, the two main characters are Thuy, who's from Vietnam, and Stacy, who's from Arizona. Some of you might have heard of them. Stacy is now here in Silicon Valley, and she's doing a really cool stuff with her company called Forge. So we followed them through all their ups and downs. Thuy had just left Vietnam to join 500 Startups, and so it was her first time in Silicon Valley pitching in this incubator and accelerator, however you call it, and kind of learning the ropes. And Stacy actually came from a successful background. She had sold her first company out of high school, and she had raised money from Richard Branson. She was this wonder kid who was like in, all the media, whatever. And then she went on to create a new company. And we were like, okay, let's see where this is going. And it ended up becoming really interesting because even though she had been very successful, she really struggled to raise money the second time around, even with that track record. So the film kind of showcases everything you go through as a startup founder, especially being a woman and all that comes with it. And we have three secondary characters who we ended up filming. One is French that you saw in Paris, Agathe. Brienne Gaffrey-Farr, who's based still in Silicon Valley with Entify, and Sheena Allen, who's in Mississippi, an amazing young woman who basically built her company out of nothing. She was in Mississippi, had zero tech background whatsoever, learned from scratch, and now with her company, Sheena Allen Apps, she has like over 2 million downloads for her apps. So really inspiring woman. And we really believe that representation matters. And I think you can all relate to that, because when I was in school, I had no one really to look up to say, hey, this is what an entrepreneur looks like, and maybe they look like me, or this is what their life is like, and maybe I can do this. If she can, I can too. So the film has been a really crazy roller coaster, basically a startup in itself. I don't know if anyone here has ever been interested in filmmaking. Do you have any filmmakers in the house? Okay, a couple. Wow, that hand raised fast. So yeah, it's basically like a startup. We had to raise money. We had to build a product, build a team, all of it. And we premiered in October at the Mill Valley Film Festival. And now we're on to basically screening all over, especially in schools, corporations, and then hopefully online. But mostly we're focusing on education. And I want to leave you with a few things that I learned by meeting all those awesome women entrepreneurs. And the first thing is that confidence aspect really struck me. I'm still struggling with it, even though, I'm standing here, so I guess I should be feeling confident right now. But it's really interesting how all of them, no matter what insecurities they had, they always kind of powered through and put on that warrior, outfit, whatever it is you call it, your power pose, whatever it is. And it's been so inspiring for me to see them kind of overcome all of those rejections you get. When you have, emailed 100 VCs and you get 100 no's. When you get like Thuy, she came out of 500 startups feeling pretty confident about herself. It's not nothing, and getting all those rejection emails from the VCs. And then it's like, okay, what do I do to prop on myself back up? How do I overcome that? How do I keep going when everything is kind of like, all the decks are stacked against me? Is that an English sentence? So that's what's really inspiring, is to see that grit, that resilience, that persistence. That's what makes an entrepreneur. So for all of you here, no matter what it is you're doing, even, if you're in a company, actually the entrepreneurial spirit really serves you well. It's that grit. What am I going to do when things don't go my way? How am I going to react when I don't win the startup competition, or when that person is not responding to my email? How am I going to react when I don't have money, but I still need to keep this thing going and I have a team to, fund? And those are those decisions that make you who you are. And that grit is actually, as Sheryl Sandberg mentioned, after what happened to her, is a muscle. It's not something you're born with. You're not born super confident and you know exactly what you're going to do when things go wrong. It's a muscle you can activate by every time thinking about, this is how I'm going to react, this is what I'm going to do. Looking around you, finding a support system of people who can also help you, get lifted back up. So I encourage you all to work on that muscle. It can start every day by little things about, hey, today I'm going to raise my hand and ask a question, or today I'm going to say what I mean to this person. But really starting activating that muscle little by little. And I wanted to say again that I'm really impressed with everybody here today. It's super encouraging after working on this theme for like 3.5 years, like I said, and seeing all those women basically being the next generation of innovators. It's you. You're the next, not Bill Gates or Mark Zuckerberg, the next whoever it is you are. It's you who are going to build this new future. So I'm really excited for that. And if you want to talk to me after about the movie, I'm be here for a few minutes. And otherwise, you can find it on shestarteditfilm.com if you want to screen it or see what these entrepreneurs have been up to. So thank you so much again, and really give yourself a big round of applause for being awesome, basically. Yes.
I just have a quick question for you. So of the companies that you selected to be involved in the film, how did you pick them?
Yeah, so what's been interesting is because it's a film, a documentary, we could have obviously focused on super successful companies, but what was interesting was we needed people who first wanted to be filmed, because when you're an entrepreneur, like the last thing you want is someone shoving a camera into your face when things are going wrong. You're like, hell no. So, we were lucky to meet women who were very brave in letting us in. And we also had to build that bond and that trust. It took, like I said, 3.5 years. And we wanted people who had enough traction that something was going on. So like I said, Twee was at 500 startups. So there was actually something going on. Stacy was rebuilding a company really quickly, raising money. Sheena as well. So it's really that sweet spot of, I'm not completely in the first stage, but I'm not so high up that you can't even get access to me. And then just charisma. I mean, something you've probably heard today is that personality plays a big role. No matter what your personality, you don't have to be super extroverted. You don't have to be the loudest one in the room. Just owning who you are matters a lot. So these women really were strong about who they were, and that really became something very charismatic. So people really loved watching them on screen and understanding who they are as a person, discovering who they are. They fell in love with them as people. So that's how we chose them. And we kind of jumped first thing. I mean, I would love to do a sequel now. So,
that was my next question. I was going to ask you, what is your next big thing?
We'd love to, like I said, explore different backgrounds, because those women were in a very specific moment in time, millennial women kind of coming into their own. So it's a very specific time in your life. But then there's so many other stages of life being a woman entrepreneur that would be interesting to explore, and so many other countries, cities. So a series would be really cool. I just need funding for that. Someone here. And cool characters. So, yeah.
So maybe I have a pitch event for that.
Exactly. So yeah. By the way, who here is an entrepreneur? Okay, majority. Cool. Who here is an investor? Okay, grab those people. Thank you.